In your business, do you feel or maybe know that you have something really important to say, but you just aren't sure how to say it? Maybe you have this stirring inside you, that feels like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna burst if I don't say this. Could feel like a volcano inside that's like going to erupt if you don't get out your soul work, right? Your mission, your thoughts, your unique way of doing things. But maybe you don't have the confidence, so you keep tamping it down. Or maybe you know that you have really good stuff to say, important stuff, but you're afraid that other people won't understand and that you might be humiliated or disappointed or embarrassed because they're not going to get you, right? This is what we're going to talk about today. This is one of my subjects that's near and dear to my heart. It's part of my own journey that I've been on. And what it's all about is liberating your deeper, true voice. All right, hello and welcome. I'm so glad that you are here for this next episode of Joyful Business TV. I'm Laura West, host of your show, and I'm the CEO and founder of the Center for Joyful Business and an intuitive business coach. For over 20 years, I have been working with coaches, consultants, soul purpose-driven entrepreneurs who have a mission, right? They have a mission and they want to get their soul work, using their gifts out into the world so they can help more people, so they can do their part in making a difference while making great money and living an extraordinary life. This is truly possible. You do this by creating an environment inside you and outside so that you can truly flourish and you can do all of this. And you know what I know? I deeply, deeply know is that you are already designed to flourish. Like, it's natural. It's part of nature is to flourish. But we just need to release the possibilities, figure out what's getting in the way. And so that's what is leading us to today's show, which is all about liberating your deeper, true voice. So what does this mean, right? What does this mean to liberate your deeper, true voice, right? So most entrepreneurs that I talk to, they feel like they know that they are called to their work, right? I call it soul work. And often this soul work means that you're using your gifts, your beautiful brilliance, and your unique way of thinking about the world or thinking about your part of the world, whatever it is that you offer. You have a unique approach, right? You think about it differently than perhaps everybody else in your industry thinks about it. And it becomes this calling, like it really does become that volcano that might be simmering for years underneath that says, you know what, I have this unique approach. I have this unique way of thinking about things. Or I know what's really important, or I know what's missing in the industry. I know what's missing, and I want to help people find that because that's going to be the secret recipe, right? The piece that's going to unlock things for your clients. It becomes a calling, right? But often your calling isn't what other people might call normal, right? It's not the normal approach. Like one of my clients who's a real estate agent, and she was really different though, because she could tell the emotional history and the story of the land and what kind of energy was in the land. So in the house, in the land, and then she could also do land healings. That's not your average real estate agent, right? So we work to really free her voice, free her confidence, free her, having permission to really free herself so that she could express herself in the world and start attracting the clients who they also knew there was something funky going on with the land, right? Or maybe the CPA, my CPA, I love her. She is passionate about positivity. She's not just delivering financial recommendations, which she's amazing at, and ways to save on taxes and all that good stuff. But you know what? She helps guide her clients with this abundance mindset. And I have found it to be more rare that a CPA has that abundant mindset, but I know they're out there. And so it takes courage to kind of go against the grain of what's accepted in your industry or what people are used to. So being able to express yourself is incredibly important. And that idea of liberating your deeper true voice inside is what's going to help you. It's going to help you communicate what you offer and why it matters, why people should pay attention. And it's going to help you articulate that unique approach, that different perspective, that non-traditional way of looking at the world in a way that people can, the right people, not everybody, right? Not everybody's going to hear you, but the right people will hear you and they will be attracted to you like a magnet, right? It's like one of my clients, he works with men to reimagine their leadership in the world. Like, oh my gosh, what a beautiful thing. Just saying that calls forth hope, right? Calls forth hope. And it really calls the men in the world, right? These leaders to this fresh new approach. And he talks he talks about creating an everyday legacy. And, it wakes a lot of men up, and a lot of men resist it at first. Maybe they haven't thought about legacy. They've thought about their financial legacy, how much money they're going to leave to their kids kind of thing, but they haven't thought about the legacy they're creating each and every day. And so he's been honing his voice, freeing his voice, liberating his voice over the last, couple of years. And in particular, over the last year, he's been writing a newsletter with articles and posting them on LinkedIn. He has over 50 articles about reimagining men's leadership and things they need to think about. Do you know how powerful that has been for him? Not only are the people in his soul tribe and his community wondering what he's up to, they're really getting curious, right? And so you have this part about reaching out to your soul tribe and having them connect, right? So that obviously you can help the right people, opportunities come to you, you get clients, you're going to make money, all of that. But underneath that commitment to write a newsletter, to write an article almost every week, or to do a TV show every week, is that it will help you articulate your voice, right? It will help you find your confidence. It will help you find your clarity. It'll help you find your words. It'll help you find that inner resonance where instead of talking about it kind of like, yeah, I think this is a good idea, you're going to deepen that conviction that is in your soul so that you can bring your soul work out. It's actually in your body so you can bring your soul work out. So what gets in the way? Right? The thing is that we get scared, right? We get scared from, all of our childhood stories around maybe you were told you were too much, right? So your idea of, you get triggered around that what you're saying, people might be like, oh, you're too much, or you're not enough, like, why are you the one to say this? People aren't listening. Maybe you felt invisible in the past. And so it doesn't just happen overnight. It's not like a switch that you turn and, you flip and then all of a sudden, oh, I have access to it. It happens over time, right? When that rumbling underneath just gets to be so powerful where you can't not do it anymore. You can't not do it. But lots of times you need permission, right? Permission to say, yes, you need to go do this, permission to find your way. You need to find your courage. Right? That is probably the very first step because it's a courageous act. There's a lot of people going through life who never ever think about that rumbling underneath, right? That rumbling, their unique way of saying things in the world. They don't want to wake up to that. So you got to find your courage, give yourself permission, and then you got to practice working with your voice. And I mean that like practice writing, practice saying it in video, practice secret writing in your journal, talking to other people about it. And you're doing it every day already. If you're working with clients, that's a way of practicing the way that you're talking about your approach. So that's a healthy way, an easy way of doing that. But you want to also find other ways where you get into this daily, I really encourage daily practice where you're finding your voice in some way. Because you will develop that confidence. You'll develop it. You don't find the confidence. It's not like it's lost and, one day you find it. You really develop it over time. And I think that's something that's been a myth, where people are like, oh, I should just flip the switch and find my voice. I should just be the person who's out there writing the books, being on stage, and doing a podcast, doing a TV show. You know what? I didn't do a TV show until I was 20 years in my business. Now, I'm not saying you have to wait 20 years. We didn't have the capabilities and technology to be able to do that. But I will say that doing a TV show, doing a podcast, writing a newsletter every week, these are fabulous ways to be able to hone your voice, right? And start really finding that clarity, the confidence, and the conviction. And you want to find a structure that works for you. So that's one of the things I talk about in one of my other episodes, is finding your authentic marketing style so that you can get your message, your worldview, your perspective, maybe your unique approach, your passion and purpose, right? Your mission out into the world. So today I want to talk about practicing, because that's a big piece of this, is what does practicing look like, right? Practicing, liberating, freeing your deeper, true voice. Again, it's not a one-time, free. I wrote and then I'm in the flow and all of that. What happens is you start writing and then the triggers are going to come up, right? Your gremlin comes up, or what I call your inner overprotector, your IOP, your inner overprotector. That comes up and wants to squelch your voice and say, no, that's not good enough. You don't have enough credentials behind your name. Who are you to write this? Or it's too much. You're too bold. You're too out there. Or it's too crazy. It's too woo-woo. Like, we have a whole buffet of voices that maybe your inner overprotector takes on. So here's the thing. Each and every day, each and every day, you want to choose your practice. Choose to practice finding your voice in some way. And so it might be when you show up with your clients and how you talk about it. It might be in the RFP, the request for proposal, and maybe you talk about it in a new way. It might be on your TV show and your newsletter. And what happens is the more that you practice freeing your voice, really sharing it, finding it, sharing it, that it becomes this new groove, right? It becomes, you really do literally create new neural pathways that lay down tracks where you are a confident entrepreneur who is sharing your voice. And so that's new for a lot of you. So I want to share with you a couple of my favorite methods for practicing connecting to your deeper inner voice. All right. One of the things that I love to do is to pick a card. And what I mean by that is to pick a card from an oracle deck. And then you want to do it in a way that's like, all right, what is it when you pick that card? Like, I picked a card this morning that said, play with the possibilities. Okay. It's a deck that's called 3 words, play with the possibilities. And a great practice is to pick that card and just lean into that message and then start writing about it. Or you can talk about it if you're more of a talker, whatever your way is. You can record yourself talking on a voice recorder. You can get that transcribed, right, if you want to do it that way. Or you can just write freestyle and just write about, what does that card mean to you? And then apply it to something in your business. So play with the possibilities was the message I got this morning. And so I can apply it to my business and say, oh yeah, today I'm going to be in possibility land. And so I'm imagining different possibilities, what could happen with that potential new client, the possibilities of how I might help other clients, play with the possibilities of writing my newsletter, what articles are going to come to me. So you just write all of these things down. And then you take it a little deeper. It's what I call double clicking. Like, you take a little deeper. And what does play with the possibilities mean? So you might double click on the word play. What does play mean? And what does that have to do with what you're offering your clients? Maybe you are a mindful eating coach. And so what does play have to do with mindful eating? And then write that out or speak that out so that you can, again, you're finding your words, right? And you're making connections, finding patterns, finding threads, practicing saying these things and finding what is your perspective, what is your worldview or your approach to this. How does play come into mindful eating, right? We were always told when we were younger not to play with your food, right? You could go down that track and write about, yeah, maybe we actually do need to play with our food and get creative. And, there's just all sorts of, see how all of a sudden it opens up a pathway. Or maybe you focus on possibilities, or focus on the possibilities. And so what does possibilities mean to you? How does that show up in your business? How's that showing up with your clients? Where do your clients shut down the possibilities? Write about where they get shut down. Write about how do you help them open up the possibilities. Do you see how just taking something like that, super simple, 3 words, play with possibilities, and how you start applying it to different areas in your business, and it opens up this whole, it's literally is like double clicking, and then this whole other world of Google opens up, right? This whole other inner Google opens up, your wisdom, your expertise, finding your unique way that you put your words together. And so that's what I would encourage you. That's one of my favorite ways. I encourage you to do that. Another example of this is, here's what I would say first is I would also write more about the personal, like how's that showing up in your life? Maybe how is it not showing up in your life? How is playing with possibilities not showing up in your life? Like use yourself as a kind of, I don't want to say test dummy. I know there's another, as a beta, maybe is a better word to say that. But, another way of accessing what your words are is using your own examples. And then what starts happening is you start finding the stories, right? When you play with this, all of a sudden you're realizing, so we're playing already, right? We're playing with this idea of using a card deck, using a message. And what happens is it starts leading you to stories. So all of a sudden you realize you might have a story about a client who was playing with possibilities, or how you recommend somebody to play with possibilities and be in possibility energy, and they can't do it and they get stuck. And all of a sudden you start seeing patterns for where they get stuck, and then you help them get unstuck, and here's what happened. So it'll lead you to a lot of the stories. And people love stories, so when you're doing your podcast, your writing and things like that, your post on social media, people love to hear the stories. And so that's a way of doing it. Is another way of taking that same idea, is taking that message on that card, play with possibilities, and then go out into your day and start looking for how is that showing up. Is it showing up when you went on a walk and you walked by a playground and you saw all these kids who were just off from school and they had all this crazy energy that they needed to release, and they're all over the monkey bars and the jungle gym and all of that, and you can hear the high level of excitement and the squeals? What does that have to do with your business? And just trust it, like whatever comes. It's like, oh yeah, what if we were squealing with delight? What would that look like to be squealing with delight? What does that look like to release all this pent up energy? What kinds of things do your clients need to do to release their pent up energy? You see how all of a sudden you can just click down, and the more you do it, the more these things will come. But then you start seeing examples in your everyday life that then you can use in, the different ways that you're sharing your work. At the beginning, you can just write for your own, I won't say your own pleasure, but your own practice, right? Your pleasure practice. You can write for your own practice. And as you get more comfortable with it, then you can start sharing it. It's really great to have a daily practice where you are just practicing finding your words, finding the patterns, finding the stories, connecting, taking something random, seemingly random. I always think there's no randomness, but seemingly random, and then bringing it into your world and then applying it to your business and your messages. And the more you practice that, the better you're going to get at that. The more easy it's going to start flowing from you. You truly are going to start liberating the words, and liberating the words and the feeling and the energy behind it, because the two go together. There's the words, and I know we're always looking for the perfect words, right, to describe our businesses. But there's also an energy that comes with conviction. Right? That energy that comes with conviction that makes you feel like a magnet, that it gives you that magnetic attraction factor, that, okay, I didn't understand what she said, but oh my gosh, she was really compelling, right? It's that thing. And we all know what we're talking about. Sometimes you've heard somebody on a podcast and you're like, who is that? And you might be curious about what they're saying and their approach, but you're also like, there's something else, that deeper conviction that is coming across with their words. So that's the place you want to get to, and that's why the daily practice will really help. Now, here's another thing that I love to do, and this is to look for emails and pick an email. Again, this could be part of your daily practice. You can change it up. I like to do different practices. But find somebody, who's sending you an email that you either really resonate with or you disagree with, or it makes you irritated, right? Maybe the subject line irritates you. Like one of the things that happens so often is somebody will send, everybody's in pursuit of this really great subject line to get you to open the emails. And that I do, there is an art to that, a science and an art to that. But I get really frustrated and irritated when somebody's like, I'm having a baby or I'm quitting forever. And then you get into the email and you're like, what? Oh my gosh, I know her. She's quitting. What do you mean? And then you read it and it's like, she's not quitting her business. She's just quitting doing something that she did, a practice that's not working for her, a bad habit or something, or she's quitting coffee, kind of thing. Or they're having a baby and, usually those by now we're kind of like, okay, she's not having a baby. She's probably birthing a new program, So I get irritated with those types of things. So notice, where do you get irritated and triggered or sometimes even mad? And where do you get pulled in like, oh my gosh, I love her words. I love the way he's saying this. This so lands in my heart. It makes me feel like I wish I could do that, right? So we really want to feel an aliveness, okay? So find that, and then again, start writing or using a voice recorder and share what it is that is really triggering you, either triggering you up or triggering you down, right? So what is the trigger? What are they saying? What is it that you believe that is either similar or different? If it's similar, like find your words for describing it. What else would you add to it? If somebody is, like somebody was talking the other day, there was one about this woman who was talking about be unstoppable. And she was relating it to A Course in Miracles, which is a spiritual study. And I love the way she talked. I love the way she described it. And so I kind of took that as my own fodder. And next thing you know, I'm not copying her words. I'm not talking about A Course in Miracles, but I started talking about being unstoppable. And what is it in my world, in the joyful business world, where I am more about ease and elegance and grace and aligned energy? How does unstoppable come into that play? And so I end up writing a whole article about being unstoppable. When you align your energy from the inside, then you become unstoppable outside, right? It was the jumping point for me. You can do it the same way when somebody triggers you and gets you upset, or you, like I said, you get irritated. Then bring it into your practice. And go deeper. Be willing to be courageous and go deeper and just say, why does that irritate you? Now, you don't have to turn that into an article. You don't have to publish a rant. Some people do rants and that's their style. I'm not a ranter, but I know other people who've made podcasts out of doing rants. So, know what your style is. What I really want you to do right now is to just practice for yourself, because the more you practice, then when you go to write your newsletter, when you go to do your Facebook Live or your LinkedIn story live, then you'll have the words. And then again, your conviction is going to be deeper and deeper as you start talking about something. Because we all know when somebody says something and you feel a little tentative, like, well, I help you find your voice. Or it's like, I help you find your deeper, true voice. And here's why. There's a difference in the resonance, right? There's a difference in the energy exchange that happens. So that's what you want to practice, right? And again, the practice leads to the output, right? And leads to you're going to have better articles, you're going to have better videos, you're going to attract more clients. But a big part of this is that inner alignment piece, that when you do this practice of liberating your voice, finding your voice in there, you start really getting that your voice matters, okay? Your unique experience, your unique approach, matters. We can have, for example, 5 different business coaches that could talk to you today, and each one of us has probably some similar foundational pieces that we're going to talk to you about with your business, right? but we could be uniquely very, very different in our approach, in our worldview. Um, so they can be, one might be more spiritual, one might be more creative, one might be more fun and uses lots of humor and play, and somebody else might be really serious and talking about making money. Or they might combine it together and they might play and be humorous and talk about money. You see, like there's so many different ways that your particular brand looks. And this is a path to start finding your brand. So we talk about finding your voice, but it helps you get clearer and clearer about your message, clearer and clearer about your soul tribe, and clearer and clearer about the brand experience that people get when they come into your soul tribe. They come into your soul tribe and they start hearing the stories, right? They start hearing and reading your unique approach and how it's maybe different than somebody else that maybe they haven't heard it this way before. And sometimes it takes time for them to come around. But it also helps you develop your own, what I call lexicon, your brand experience lexicon. So as you are in the joyful business community, you start getting my lexicon that I've developed over the years of doing this work and liberating my unique perspective on things, my unique, deeper, true voice. And so we'll talk about joy flow sightings and, where's the joy flowing in your business? Let's have gratitude and appreciation for that. We'll talk about things like flowmentum and how to get your flowmentum going. We'll talk about soul tribe. And all of a sudden that happens through consistently practicing, liberating and finding and really dancing with your inner, deeper voice. All right. And what I know is that the more you do this, that, like I said, that deeper conviction starts happening, so that when you say things like when I say flowmentum and joy flow sightings and soul tribe, I used to say soul tribe and I'd be like, oh, I don't know, is it really that? But the more that I talked about it, defined it, I did a Venn diagram on it, I've written about it, I've done podcast interviews about it, summit interviews about it. It's really deep in my bones, deep in my cells about who your soul tribe is and what it does for you and why it's important in your business. So again, practice. Give yourself permission to play. Talking about play again. Practice. Try one of these techniques. And you don't have to commit for the rest of your life, but what if you took a week and just practiced every day and did some writing or some talking and transcribing to just play and start finding your voice and really notice what happens. You will start seeing, hearing, feeling a kind of a quickening that starts happening, that quickening where things are really coming together, and you'll start getting the early stages of that. And that's, the more you do that over time, that's when the magnetism comes in, that deeper conviction that is truly magnetic. And that's where the opportunities, the clients, and ultimately the greater money and impact really start happening. All right, so we're going to wrap up for today. I hope you enjoyed this conversation about finding your deeper, true voice. Stay tuned for other episodes, and we will see you next week. Thank you for watching this episode of Joyful Business TV. I want to invite you to get more creative strategies and support for growing your business. You can start right now by activating your abundance mindset with a really powerful creative visualization that will help you get into the universal abundance current, one of my favorite things to do. And you'll also get a companion 7-day journal that will help you create a daily habit of co-creating with the universe. These are 2 powerful resources that you can get started right now to help grow your business and activate that abundant mindset. You just go over to activateabundancegift.com.